Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and it is June 16th, 2016, and I'm here to talk about Orphan Black, episode 409, titled The Mitigation of Competition, which premiered last week on Thursday, June 9th, 2016. So it is roughly quite a few hours until the season finale airs, so I thought I would record this. I thought I did it, but it seems it's never a good time. So I'm here now to just talk about it. So 15-minute clock this time, so let's begin. So something new that we learned in this episode. So basically I noticed three storylines, if you can call it that, being focused on in this episode. First one being the search for the Brightborn escapees. There's two of them, and they are the ones that could ultimately expose Evie Cho for all the illegal testing that she's been doing. Next, it deals with Donnie being released from prison and how Hendrixes have to deal with that and what comes after that for them in regards to legal actions and stuff. And then the third storyline takes place on what I'm calling Creation Island, which is, I guess you can say, where Susan's lab is. So let's get right into it character-wise. So for Sarah, we see her dealing with the Brightborn escapees, and that is she's racing with Art to try to find these two missing women who escaped because not only could they expose Evie Cho's operation, but they actually took video of them killing one of the newborns just because they had so many defects because of their genetic interference and stuff like that. Because of this, though, Sarah goes into a very tense alliance with Rachel where she doesn't really trust her. She's trying to deviate from Rachel, even though Rachel won't take her claws out of Sarah, if you will. So we see that, and it was kind of pretty cool how they deal with that part of the storyline. So moving on next, we get Cosima, who in the end of the last episode, we saw her flying towards the island where Susan is currently living on. With her lab and such. So we see her in this episode working with Susan in recreating the original genome. That is fertilizing Sarah's viable egg with Ira's sperm, therefore combining the Lita and Castor DNA together to create the original genome where they came from through Kendall. A little weird, but scientifically it should work. Also, while on this island, Cosima reads the big book about the origins of Neolution, and she also meets Charlotte, and she learns a little bit more about the island as well. So that was pretty interesting there. Because beforehand, Cosima's only heard of Charlotte; she's never actually met her, and it seems like Charlotte has heard about Cosima too, to some extent. So there's that. Moving on to Allison, though, she not only picks up Donnie from the prison after he's been released, but we really see not only them deal with the ramifications of his arrest, but we see Allison truly struggling with the fact that she has lost in her faith. She doesn't believe I think it's a Christian now. She keeps calling herself a sinner. Judaism keeps being brought up. It's just Allison is really, she's trying to get on the righteous path, I guess you can say. I'm not really sure. I'm not really big on religion and such, but for Allison, she's really trying, and yet it's just not, she doesn't think she can do it after everything she's done. And also with all the prying eyes of everyone knowing that Donnie was arrested and such, she actually wants to leave town for a bit under the guise of a mini vacation out of town. Like, they even mentioned going to Niagara Falls. And they also mentioned that their kids are down in Florida with her mom. So there's that. It seems a lot of stress has been on Allison for everything that's happened. And also, because of that, they kind of deal with a little bit of a interruption thanks to Evie Cho's men in the form of the male paramedic that kind of attacked Sarah at the beginning of the season. And they actually get rescued from Helena, if you can believe it, which was moving on to Helena. She actually returns from her little stay in the wintry forest. She not only saves Allison and Donnie with her big entrance, with her bow and arrow that we saw her use earlier in the episode. But beforehand, she had dropped by Felix's place to kind of thinking that everybody would still be there. But when she meets Adele, Helena comes off being very protective of Felix against Adele. So that was pretty interesting too. But it was great to see Helena back. She's still pregnant, so hasn't been very long since she's been gone from the looks of it. And if you can remember, she has been pregnant since season 2. So timeline for the show has been very slow. So there's that. And also moving on to, let's get into Rachel now. Now, again, like I mentioned before, she goes into a tense alliance with Sarah, since she can't really, even though she has been a good recovery, she can't really do everything that she did before. So she has to give Sarah all the legwork. However, when things aren't going her way, she manages to take action herself. And she outsmarts Evie Cho, as well as outing her to the public for her devious actions with illegal experiments and stuff like that. So she pulled a Rachel, trying to vie for power and try to use that reputation against Evie Cho, and she even used that distrust from Sarah to her advantage too, from the looks of it. Also, with her eye, she sees more images of the swan, but now she's seeing them attached with this old man in a village, and she thinks it's a message from the island. It's not some glitch. She actually thinks there's a reason why she's having all these images. So there's the mystery in that. Clones not seen in this episode are MK and Crystal. But moving on to Felix, though, we actually see in this episode that he pretty much says goodbye to Adele. Who not only who knows Sarah, but she suddenly meets Allison thinking they're twins, and then she suddenly meets Helena, now not believing the twin thing and thinking, what, triplets? So she's demanding answers from Felix, but Felix doesn't want to get her involved, so he essentially has to tell her goodbye because he doesn't want to endanger her with the clone secret. She seems to understand this, but it's unclear whether it's a true goodbye or if it's just a temporary goodbye between them. So there's that. So what was the most shocking moment of the episode? I wasn't going to mention this in about characters, but most shocking was Delphine. At the very end of the episode, we see Delphine alive and writing on a desk in some wooden cabin. I'm assuming it's somewhere on the island, but apparently she's not alone in that cabin. But the fact that she's alive, the fact that we had to wait 9 episodes just to see her again was just surprising. I wasn't expecting that for sure. I thought with the way that Crystal told us that someone took Delphine after she was shot, I thought like maybe she was still in some kind of hospital bed recovering, or in some sort of medically induced coma or something. But the fact that we see Delphine alive and well is fantastic and surprising, and I can't wait to hear what happened to her in the last however time has passed between 3:10 and now, essentially. But for the episode itself, though, despite how much shocking Delphine's return is, it was shocking that Rachel actually took Evie down the way she did. I actually thought, like Sarah, that Rachel was going to turn on them and actually go for that power position within the Neolution company. But when she turned around and she actually was trying to destroy Evie, I was surprised. I was even surprised that she managed to pull it off. But then I guess you could say, if anyone's going to pull off a plan from start to finish and have it go the way she wanted, it would be Rachel, for sure. So that was surprising in itself. So moving on quickly, though, to top 3 favorite moments. Actually, I have a bit more. But first one, like I mentioned, favorite moment has to be Rachel tricking Evie Cho. I love it. I love the way she did it. I love that she truly had me surprised and then thankful that she managed to pull it off. And then when you see Evie Cho's face when she realizes when she's on that podium that she was tricked, that her whole career has basically been flushed down the toilet, her face was just, on one level you want to feel, like on the surface you want to feel bad for Evie Cho, but after knowing what she's done to the clones and what she was truly planning, or almost planning, it's just like, I don't feel bad for her. I'm glad she's off her high horse after taking down Susan Cho, or Susan Duncan, like she did. Sorry. So it's great to see her be put in her place. She should not be running the company that she never built. So it was just great overall just to see that shocked expression on her face. And all thanks to Rachel, too. It's like, it's kind of payback from Rachel, really. Another favorite moment surprisingly enough, was the little part we got to see of Helena surviving in the woods. Just the extent of what she created, it truly reminded me that Helena is a survivor. It reminded me of the Helena we see back in season 1 when she is this killer, this assassin who truly knows how to survive in any situation, how she has a whole round of skill sets behind her. And it's just, I really like that we got to see that again. It was great to see that she was able to not only provide for herself, but able to protect herself in such harsh conditions as living in a forest while it's snow everywhere. It was just, I was amazed, I was impressed, and I definitely we got to see it. So there's that. Another favorite moment was the fact that Delphine is alive. Not enough said. I'm glad that we're finally going to get to that mystery of what happened to her, since it's kind of been dangling in her faces for the last 9 episodes. So there's that. Also, favorite moment though as well is the initial first meeting re-meeting, I guess you could say, between Sarah, Felix, and Rachel and Ira. It was so funny to me that they're in this hotel room, Rachel and Ira, all proper and very white or off grayish colors. And then in walks in Sarah and Felix, all decked out in black, all looking like the punk rockers, completely opposite to the prim and proper Rachel and Ira. And it's just such a huge contrast. And then the speech patterns between the 4 of them were just, it was funny just to see that, and just to see how essentially with these 4 people they're expected to work together. It's just like, no, you can easily see where their 2 divisions end. So I just thought it was funny. That's why it was my favorite, because it was a meeting that neither one of them wanted, and yet they needed to have. So there's that. So moving on to top 3 peeved moments. First one, I keep mentioning this, but the fact that it took us 9 episodes before we saw Delphine again, or to even get true answers about what had happened to her in the season 3 finale. I didn't like that we had to wait that long. Sure, for the characters, it's not going to seem like that long, again, because of the whole difference in time passing between each episode, but for us as the viewers, it's been like a good year since we've seen Delphine. So it's a little frustrating at that. And then it's always a tease when we always get mentions of her throughout the previous episodes. So it's just like, I'm relieved that we finally get to see her, but I'm also annoyed that it's taken us this long to get here. So there's that. And also another peeve for me was the fact that Allison is so urgent to leave town. I mean, I get how she doesn't like the stairs and how people talk and gossip behind her back for the fact that her husband was arrested, but doesn't Allison realize that Donnie trying to leave town is just going to make things more complicated for them and a lot worse for them? It's like, really? You really want to make things more difficult to you just so you can save face and stave off the temporary humiliation you're getting right now? It's just, yeah, no, I don't like that. Allison's usually very thought out and very meticulous in every detail, and just this seems like an impromptu idea, and she hasn't thought everything through yet. So there's that. Moving on, what moment I remember most when I look back on this episode? The fact that Rachel took down Ivicho the way she did. That's a huge thing I'm going to remember for this episode. Next thing, random questions very quickly. First one, who is the man with Delphine? Is he the same man that Rachel has been seeing in her glitching Neolution eye? I'm wondering, maybe he's a key to helping save the clones, or I don't know. I don't know who he could be. I don't know who Delphine could align herself with, or maybe he is her captor, or he's the one who shot her. I don't know, but I wonder if it's the same man or anything like that. Also, second question, if Delphine is on the island, do you think that there will be a reunion between her and Cosima, who is also on the island now, if it's the same island they're on? Do you think their reunion will be the season finale cliffhanger moment? And I have an iffy feeling it might be, which is going to piss a lot of Kofian fans off because now they're going to have to wait another year. But that's what I think. It's a possibility. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Next question. Have we seen the last of Eldel? I hope so. I really didn't like her addition, just because she put a kink in the Felix's dynamic with the Clone Club. So I just hope we don't really see her again. Plus, it never really clicked for me that she was his sister. There's the timer. It didn't seem like they meshed as siblings. But then what do I know? Last question. Will we see the clones reunited for the finale, like with the dance and dinner party that we had previously? I hope so, although with this case, with them all being separated like they are at this moment, I don't know how they're going to. Moving on to predictions very quickly, though, it's just, first off, based off the promo for the season finale, it looks like we're going to see Crystal returning. We're going to get answers about Delphine. We're going to see more of Charlotte and Cosima. We're going to see more of Rachel and Ferdinand, or I'm assuming it's Rachel, although with clones pertaining to the other clones, that might not be the case. And then it looks like Rachel might be in charge of Neolution now, so there's something. Based off the sneak peek that was revealed on the official after show, After the Black, brought to you by Space, it looks like Dr. Ian Van Leer, Evie's doctor, it is questioned by the press, and Crystal interrupts with her own questions as she acts as reporter, and she brings up Neolution and the attempted murder on Delphine. And it really, I mean, I was truly impressed that just her, although we know the relevant questions, but as opposed to every other reporter's questions directed to Dr. Van Leer, and then Crystal's questions just seem so out of the blue compared to their questions. Even though that's the case, her questions really stir up the curiosity in those reporters, and I was just truly impressed. It's like, whoa, you really caused some damage there, and I really can't wait to see how that turns out. But based off of what's going on with Crystal, I really think she needs to get in the know of Clone Club. Otherwise, she's gonna really disrupt what they're trying to do, or she's really going to be an obstacle for them. But I really think she has to be in the know somehow. She has to be brought in. She doesn't have to know all about them. She has to at least see one of the clones. She has to at least see Sarah. Kind of like how Tony kind of knows about this clone thing, but he's only met Sarah, or he only knows that he has a twin, and it's Sarah. But Crystal has to know that she's connected to something. Otherwise, she's really going to step in and interrupt a plan they currently have going on. Also, as I mentioned before, with Rachel and Ferdinand, we haven't seen any clone impersonations this season, and I actually like that aspect. It's always fantastic to see Tatiana playing one character who's trying to play another character who's trying to be another character. It's like, it's such a crazy thing to think about, technically, or theoretically, or logically, or however you want to put it, but it's amazing to see it. So I really hope we get to see something again like that in the finale, because I definitely missed moments like that. The last one I can remember of that happening was in 301, when Sarah pretended to be Rachel, and then Allison pretended to be Sarah as they try to fool Ferdinand. So it's just that stuff. But anyways, that's it for predictions. I'm not going to give anything more since the finale is in like 5 hours. What do you guys think of the episode? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it, as well as any of your other thoughts and theories about what's to come. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. I know I'm a little behind on pretty much everything, but everything keeps piling up in my real life. So it's just when you get one thing finished, another thing pops up. So I'm trying to get a hold of that. But I truly thank you for your patience. Thank you for coming back to see what I have to say about these episodes. I also hope you tune into Tumblr to see what I have on those pages. Again, I'm behind on that, but I'm definitely going to get right onto it. I know what needs to be put up. I know what needs to be updated. So I have a list, and once I get on there, see a massive flood of new posts. But follow me there too if you wanted to be up to date with those updates as well, though. And that's about it. So Until next time, which will be in a few days for the finale. Until then, this is Mel, wishing you a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.